Little trains in a big world, moving slow, chugging through valleys where no winds blow. Painted hills and plastic trees, quiet whispers of old memories. Little trains, little dreams, rolling softly through the seams. Tiny tracks in a giant land, guided gently by a steady hand. Accurately built with a craftsman's care, tiny bridges hanging in midair.
This, on the other hand, isn't so easy. So what we have here is these are the rail pickups here. These little ones. Got street lights here. I think that's part of the street light circuit. Then we've got point to glow under here. So we need to sort these out. And I believe my washing machine is just done, so I will need to go and sort that out in a moment. So let's get rid of this off the end of here now. That's staying, that runs the signals. And then this is a lighting circuit which needs its colours altering and the placement of some of the bits better. So we can start with today, just before I finish up for today's very short episode up here, we're stripping some of this stuff off here so we can start afresh. So this that runs through here, it's quite evident what does what. So we can just change these. So that came out with no issues, so that wasn't tight, was it? Take that out. Right. And then we need to take, oh, that's not good, that screwdriver, it's bent. Take that out. So obviously that needs to sit in a better location than that. Right. And then this is a point here, which is connected to one of these. Which needs its point motor adding. I am going to use this opportunity to put these point motors in. This is another track feed here, which, as you can see, the colours aren't the same on any of it. So doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh all the colours, put them all the same, and then the track bus is easy to follow, as well as if I ever came to sell this, I wouldn't cut all the track bus out like it has been done. So remember, I have actually got stuff turning up to do this as well. So hang on, right. So that belongs to that point. That one belongs to that point. And that one does, which that is neutral at that point. This point is these three. One is here. I believe this is another track. Yeah, it is another track feed. Oops. And if that's another track feed, which ties right in there. And I think me and Sean put that one in. To be honest, these will be the colours then I end up going off, because like I said, I'm sure me and Sean put that in, because that is the points on the other side. So then we have, I don't know here, it'll be track power, it's going like that. So that's track power, that is staying, it just needs cutting down and making more respectable. This is all shorted together. But it will be controlled by this point motor eventually. Do all the switching. So that's 2 point motors out there. Need actual attaching. So that's this blue wire, this orange, this red, and this. They're both track power. They're supposed to go to the point motor, and then it gets switched by this blue one. I think that's normal track power as well. I'll have to have a check. And this orange one is the switch as well. But obviously I've got them there that need doing. There's a point there, I can see that point, so that needs a motor. I'm not too sure where that point is on the layout. Let me have a look. That is, I believe, that's an electrofrog point there, so that needs, as you can see, it had wires. I believe these are actually the wires for it. So that needs its electrofrog being put back in. And then there's an electrofrog point here, which is the goods yard, that needs controlling. This will be staying, this runs all my lighting. This, not a clue, presuming it's another electrofrog point. But this is just a mess, and I've tried doing it whilst it was in place, but it's just not worked. These are all the station lights, which ironically don't all work. I never got them to all work from underneath. That's another track feed there, as you can see. That was the only wire they left me on to pitch onto that. Got another track feed here, one with a missing wire. And then this feeds that, which is not a problem. We'll do all this. This is all, I believe, track power. So we have 2 track powers here. Another point here, which controls an electrofrog. There we go. Don't know what these were for, but they're not attached. I'm presuming they are numbered, so probably track power at some point. I never even knew that was there. There's a track power there. Never even knew that was there. I believe that's a track power that I didn't know was there. Track power here that I didn't know was there. And we've got this, which I think I know what they are, and that doesn't work anymore, so that can be removed. I've got a street light down here I need to put in yet. So yeah, I've got some work to do. but it's difficult to solder upside down. Let's just take this out as well. I don't want to take this power out completely because I don't want to lose what is what, because I think this runs off the 3.3. So we've got a 3.3 rail, 5 volt rail, 12 and a potentiometered point. So I will need to use the meter and pin out what's what, but essentially I'll be able to take some of these out, poke them back through, poke the new colour through, and then I'll be able to see what rail is what and go from there. I also do sort of want to remove all these staples because they are a menace as well. So until my other stuff, which I've just remembered, turns up, that is as far as we're going today. And then when my other stuff turns up, which should make this so much easier, it will make some of the cables longer, but module wise it would make it a bit easier. And rather than lots of, you know, like one track bus, one connection there, then one connection there, then one connection there, and one, it's going to pull all the connections into probably into this space here. Although because that's got all the station lighting in, I might put the station lighting one in that one and put the one in this one and remove all the staples. But we'll just have to see. But essentially that's where we're going with this. We're back. I told you this was going to be a long video, possibly a multi-part by the time I'm done. So stuff has turned up. So we've got this package which contains 2 packages, which is bus wiring. So this is what I was on about before. So what we basically have is we can put the bus into each end and then the bus wires off on the sides there. Now on the picture online it had a lot of numbers on this side, a lot of letters. On this one it doesn't, and you can't really see, so I'm presuming they're all B's and they're all A's. I presume this one is the same. So 2 versions of this, a long version and a short one. So yeah, so that's another one of them. Should have this, I'm presuming, with the size of it, is going to be, yep, the correct serial cable. So I can run power between the boards, which we can now sort out. And then this one should be, oh, I've got 3 of these. I've got a magnifying glass, that'll actually come in handy. Yes, because they're Diddy. I can see some of the traces on that one. So we can see they go in that side, comes to that one. Zoom in. Yeah, so these are alternate AB, AB, AB. CD, CD, CD. So that's that side. And I don't know whether that's that side, but we can jump across if need be anyway. And there'll be another 2 of them in there. We don't need the smaller ones for this part of the layout. They can sit up there. The smaller ones are for the tunnel board, stuff like that. The bigger ones, this one is for that board and one is for this board. So these just can sit on here like that. So we'll find somewhere out of the way to put one of them. and then we can go from there. So, from carrying on from before, what we need is to keep that safe, because that is the power port. That's my programming track and my power port for the controller. So we need, I'm trying to show you this the best way I possibly can as well. It's a bit difficult. So we need to take the pliers to this board to get rid of all these staples. Staples are no good. And to be fair, I'm probably going to end up with the two big ones on this one as one for accessories and one for everything else, potentially, because otherwise the accessories is going to be a bit of a mess. Also wary that this is like sort of hung up on buildings, so I don't want to put too much pressure into it, because every time it bounces back like that, it's a building that's taking the brunt of it. I don't really want that, but I can repair little buildings. That's not a major deal. I'd rather not have to, but you know, I can deal with certain bits and bobs. So all these pen marks, by the way, I haven't put these on. These were put on beforehand. So we'll clean out this working area. So we do have that point decoder to put on here as well. So that can go on somewhere. So, right, this is looking pretty much ready. Well, this section is anyway. So, it's a bit of a catch really to how we do this, because to solder I need it flat. But to put the wires in, I need it up. So now it's cleared off, I could put all the points on, get them attached in, and then I can put it back on here and start feeding up and feeding down from there. Bit more work that way round, but I think it will work out fine in the long run. So if we have a look at point work, we can get these points on. So these are Gauge Master points things with the little bits on to enable it to have the electrified points on it. So we've got one point here, which that is going to be an extremely tight fit. I'm not too sure how those went on, but if we have a look, let's have a look, where are we? So I don't know what they're for. Should have, yes, we've got two there that need to go on. So if I get some of the little screws, if I can find them, I had them. That's I'm missing an entire box. So just give me 2 seconds to find this missing box. It won't be far, it'll be tied up with some of this stuff somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's actually behind this board. Well, I've got these little screws, which they're quite crap to be honest, but we'll give them a go. So we need to ensure that when we put these point motors in, I'm going to take some of the short wires on some of it, that when, I need to be on my knees, when they go in, they will not be a problem. But I've got a feeling they will be. I need to try and find the hole. I think they go square. See, because you can't see where. Oh no, this is a diagonal one. There's one there that looks like it's covered in paper. But one there. Ah, that one there is the Electrofog one, which needs to go in. So that's in. Put that straight there. I don't think that makes. No, I need to. That's in position enough there. So I have lots of little screws, but I need to make sure that when I screw this in, that come out. That is clearing enough of the point. So that is in place there. Like I say, these screws are crap. They don't bite easily into the wood. That is now bitten into the wood, so that's on. So let's just see if so that's working. So I just need to double check that when that is turned, this magnifying glass is about to come in handy. is move enough over to be switching power. I think it is. It's a bit hard to tell because of the light. Let me just use a bit extra light. Let me take my magnifying glass out of its plastic. Possibly. I think it might actually have to come over a little bit that way, which is quite annoying. Now every single time that's going to want to home back to there. Let's have a look at that now. See, because if that's not correct, that will introduce a short into the system. Yeah, because that's sitting right on the middle. So that does need to shift it across. To like there, I reckon. That's come out of its. Yeah, that's come out of its thing. Let me just take that off a little bit. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room on the arm. I'm now too far over. Because now that, yeah, I'm way too far over now. I think we'll go with where we were. And if it becomes a problem, we just won't wire up the Electrofrog and we'll use the Electrofrog from the other side. That needs taking off a little bit. Just so I can get the thing in. That's in there now. Hold it. Just taking it off again. Not holding it straight. See, I could cheat, put it slightly on an angle. I don't think it'll allow an angle. That one in there. That's not going to go anywhere with that one in. So you're supposed to put two in, but it's not going to go anywhere. So that's that point motor in. Right, and then we've got those two are for the siding. So I think this one here is the other Electrofrog one here. So this one is a little bit harder to do. So again, Gauge Master one, the Electrofrogs. Put that in. I don't know what point motors they used beforehand. That's in position there. Not enough hands. I don't know what point motors they used before, because it obviously had point motors. That's locked in place now. Not like that there, the layout's not straight. Now I can make that where that is now. I can make that work with the blade to the point, basically. It's not perfect, but I can make it work. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put the other screw as in this one in. But yeah, you could just use a screwdriver, it would be easier. In some respects it would be easier. That's not going in, so we'll use this big one. Yeah, going into this wood, them screws that I got, which are supposed to be for wood, are quite poor. Right, so that's them two in. So they're the two crossovers. Those are the two siding points. Then this one here is another Electrofrog point. So we need another Gauge Master point that's wired in for Electrofrog operation, which is this one. Again, I haven't wired these, that's why they're all in different colours. But it just means they're a pain in the ass. Right, that one in through there. About there. Once again, grab a screw to get it on. Because once I've got one on, you see, I can alter the position of it ever so slightly to make sure it works. That works fine, so let's put the other screw in. Because these now won't come off unless I'm selling it. Or scrapping it, these won't come off. And I don't think I'm never gonna scrap it. So the only way is I'm gonna sell it, and when I sell it, I'd sell it with everything attached, reflecting the value of it, basically. That point motor's not been wired up for it. This one has, but I've got lots of additional bits of wire on this. So we will do some trimming. So we don't need that bit on. Because all these came off my old double O layout. And then I trimmed them up from there. Right, so this is, it's quite a long one, but fine. And then this one is in here, which I think is going to be the hardest of them all, to be honest. I don't even know which side of the point that is popping through. I can see the or if it's even long enough to reach on there. Right, that is the angle that needs to go on for that to work. What an angle. Hopefully I'm not just taking that out. So these are all electrofogs on there. I think the guy I got it off didn't run it with electrofogs. He bought it like this, so I don't think he got it with the electrofogs on it. So, you know. Right, now there should be somewhere there should be a point decoder for me to attach. Yep, it's here. So we've got the Train Text decoder. So this will do literally most of what we need, because them two work in pairs. You've got that one, them two, that one and that one. So we've got one channel, 2, 3, 5 channels. This does 4. So we'll need to have a decoder on its own. Oh no, I'm missing a point here. There's one right down at the bottom, which you've guessed it, is an electrofrog. But we can stick this in for now. So because I am lacking a bit of room in here, although I think that, yeah, that, I reckon that will go there. Yeah, that'll go there nicely, won't it? We can stick that in there nicely. Keep dropping these screws. So essentially this we can put into action whilst the board's up like this, because that's not a problem. The bit that will be complicated to do is the electrofog part of it. But that will come in time. I need one more electrofog point motor set up. If not, oh, that one's no good because it doesn't even have a blade on it. Right guys, we'll have to leave one point motor off because that's not an electrofog either. Yeah. So we're going to have to do one point motor at a later date. That'll be the tricky one because the board will be in place. But at the moment that point isn't really used for anything. So that's not a problem. Right, we need... So these have the holes in here for serials. But obviously we don't use serial. Well, we are going to be doing it, but we're not. So we need one of these distributors. I'm going to stick them here. You see, because they just don't go into the wood easily. Where these do, but they're a bit too big. So I think what we'll do is we'll make a hole. So then go. See, that's too big for that. But now we've started the hole, we should be able to just finish the hole. One of these. So that's in. It's just in piss poorly because of how they're made. But what we can do is one of these, well, it'll be one of these ones. One of these longer ones we can put in on this side. Like that. And that just holds that in place. So that's going to be the track bus, basically. So I think that is pretty much ready to go back in. So we'll wire some of this up and then we'll put it back on there, see how level it is. We'll be able to test how level it is by having some carriages on it and seeing if it goes down that way or up this way. And then we can sort out some of the wiring once it's up. So this works with, God, I've got to remember now. Well, right, let's take this point, or this one even. So G, that's missing a wire. It's missing B. I don't even know where the contact for B's gone off that one. So we're not going to be able to use that one either. Unless the solder mask is good enough. There's no pad left. pad's been covered over. Okay, well, we'll have to skip that point, but when we get another one, it's no problem because we've already got the screw hole, so it's just put it back in, screw hole on. This one here, so they go to the Electrofrogs. So let's just poke them through there a minute. Because they go to Electrofrogs, which change the power polarity on the point. Right, then I think what's left is this one is your common, I believe. This one is your track power. So that you attach to the side that the blade is on, I believe. This is one channel. So we can put this one into here. So we feed it under all of them. And then we can actually chop that. Make that a bit shorter. So we'll chop it there, still leaving some excess. It's quite a soft wire. There we go. So we have managed to tangle up there a little bit. Just untangle that. I'm not too sure how well these points all work, these motors, but I do know they do work. And obviously, as soon as we've got DCC power, we can actually test these points to see how well they work or don't. So the common, again, under all of that. Sometimes I will tie the commons together, because you can do, as long as there's a common. So sometimes to save running extra wires, so like these two here, I'll just tie them two commons together and then you're just running the one common back. And then this green one is the other command to throw. Oh, we'll stick that. Can that be made shorter? Oh yes, it can. Yeah, it seems a waste, all these little bits of wire, but why have big bits dangling when it can all be made nice and short and tidy? So that is much tidier. And then what you have here is these three here will go to these, but we need to be able to look on the other side to work out what's what, and we will repost these. With the length of these though, we may even just be able to poke them up through the board, which then makes more sense there. I believe this Electrofrog is semi-shared on this one. So we'll be able to do some of that. Yeah, so we'll be able to do some of that. So this is the same, we've got B over here. Now you will notice that these are short wires, so I am going to have to make them a little bit longer to get up to there, which that's not a problem. And then orange for some reason here is your common. You got your two tracks again and your track power, so them three go together. That one and that one need to go up to there. So what we can do is get a terminal block that is 3 thick. 1 minute. I have all this stuff out and then the place turns to a mess. I've got 2s and 4 2s there. I've got somewhere I've got a brand new box of them. I'm just unsure where, as it turns out. Not up on the layout, are they? No. I had a brand new unopened box of them. They'll be hiding somewhere. And I want to use a 3 to the... Oh, there they are. They were right in front of me. I do have another set. There. So we want to use 3 of these. Put in. Right, then we want to put a screw through one of them. We'll put this there like so. Not fussed really where it goes as long as it goes on there. Right, so then we're going to have to just take that solder ball off. There we go. That one into there. This ensures we get a clean connection in, you see. And then common in the middle. This has got solder on it, but we might get away with this one. We got away with that one. We may also have to back this screw out a little bit. And then green one in there. Because what appears to have happened is the guy started off using red and black, and then orange became standard for points for their commons. So that appears to what happened. And no clue what happened there. You see that's common there on that one. So I don't know. Right, so then you got them 3 which are for the rail head. So then we need a little bit of black wire. I've got plenty of that. But like any wire, it's tangled itself up amongst loads of other bits of wire. No, that's white. I don't want... Right, so I've got this. So we'll strip a bit off the end here. So put that into ground. So the other thing we can do whilst it's like this is get all the station lights working. Right, then what we'll do is we'll have this run around them, up there, and have it feeding, let's say there. So that's how much measured, so we'll go a little bit extra, go like that, feed it under all of them. Bloody come out! So it wasn't gripped in here. I hope my measurement's correct now. If not, it won't matter a whole lot because I can just run this to like there. Well, you can see. I'll feed that under that one. Feed it under all of them. And then that one's in there. And what we can do to make sure that is actually anchored in place is just ever so slightly sit that on it like that. And then that can come down there. And then eventually probably some hot snot or a cable tie, something like that to put that in place. So then we need 2 trigger wires. So we will keep the trigger wire colours separate from when they've been extended. So we've got purple, which is here, where are we? Do this side, it's purple. Oh, that's not correct. Let's try that again. Purple. So there we go, run it round there. So there. It's about that, so we'll cut that off. A little bit extra. Right. Feed it under. Everything that's there. Feed that into one side. Again, anchor it down with the actual thing. Don't mind a little bit extra, but when we talk about the amount of extra that was on it before, it's ridiculous. Same with this one. Oh, I've anchored that one first time this time. Same again, up, around, up and below there. That one off. feed it under. Everything that's there. Into there like so. Right, so that's that done. So that will need track power at some point. Let's just check with the multimeter just how that's laid out, because if that's laid out the way how I think it's laid out, we'll get this off, then we will be able to easily wire some stuff up here. So A, so that's all A, that's all B, A goes to A, B goes to B. Sounds stupid, but it's worth checking, because there's several different versions out. So with A going to A, B going to B, so this bit of crap red wire that we've got here, yeah, we can use to run up to there, you see. So start with going in this side here. I'm not that good with this hand. That into there, and then that needs to go through that hole. I need to redo the end, because the end's knackered. That's okay. Up, and then about that much. We'll go a little bit more, and we've got some routing options. That into that side there, and then we'll need a black one to do the same trick. But obviously on the other side. So up and in. Oh, that wasn't a very good cut. That's better. Again, fiddle it through there. All of the 6 million lights that are there. Into there like so. Right, so that gives us track power to that. So we need to do, track power is technically fed from the board you're sat on. So we need to do this serial cable thing. We need to have that in a location that doesn't matter. Now there's a space here for one. I don't know whether that will interfere with this. So it'd be brilliant to have it like through there, but I don't have the bits to take it through there. But as there is, I know this is a scenic thing here. What we can do is there's going to be enough room there's going to be enough room there to put that on. There, basically. So, now, what I'll run one from here, which is A. Because all A's are going to be black. B's are going to be red. DCC doesn't matter because it's an AC current that runs through the track with the digital signals. But that current's ran all the time into there, and then we'll say about that much there. Oh, that will do. So that through that hole there, and it's going to come across to this hole here, and then it can go into pin number 1. If my screwdriver is small enough to actually put the wire in and grip it. I did have a smaller set of screwdrivers, but I don't anymore. Right, and then red. Is that long enough? Yeah, that's long enough. Even with all that crap on it. I think. So this red one into there. And then the same. Posting through there, not getting tangled up with everything else. Across the top, over to there. Chop that much off. And then this can go into pin number 2. It doesn't matter what these are labelled for, because I'm not using them in a PC capacity. It's a great way to easily jump power between boards. Because here we have 9 pins, right? And it means everything can be jumped through this one connector to everything, which is far better. So that's that. So that's going to have incoming power. So all that's left then is to sort the track stuff out at a date. Well, when it's back on there shortly. This point motor can have the same treatment to get up to there. What we do need to do is this power here we need to sort out, because that is a mess. Take this out of here. So we have 2 negatives and 2 positives by the looks of it. Looking at this, two negatives are together. Two negatives and two positives are together. So, right, they're the two positives. So we need to put some red wire into here. So let me just get rid of this other chunky wire that's here. Because all the lights operate natively on 3.3 volts. So that's why there's no resistors. That's why it's important. Right, this black wire here. It's slowly unraveling itself. But not really being used. I'm going to run out of wire. I'm going to need to order some more. So this one into that one there. What I'm going to do on this board, because there's 4 connections, well, 2 connections available, I'm going to do this board off its own, and then this one that I'm doing now is going to run up to there to provide up there with power. And this red one over here. Didn't bite. Right, so that is now in there. We stick that back in there like so. Measure just up to there, so that's that one. And then that one's about the same. Right. And then feed that through that hole to there, so pin 9 is going to be 3.3 common. Don't want to go in there. Fully up, sometimes it can be a little, depending on which type of clamp they've used, it can be a little bit fiddly to get up. So that's that one. So technically these 2 wires can be pulled back through. Because even if I wire this layout up, because I've not put all the point work in, it still won't work fully. So it's a bit of a slow task, this. But because I can wire the point even though this is never going to work because it's missing B, I can still wire these up to make it so it works for this. So even I can change them by hand and it'll still transfer the power. But obviously I need the power. I need to put the power, well, I need to put the layout flat so then I can beep out what's what to make it work. Right, so that's in there now like that. So we have now 3.3 volts going over there. Obviously I need to do the 3.3 volts to feed all these street lights, including all the station lights, but they're a nightmare on their own, and I think I might end up using those little ones, to be honest, to do it, rather than this will stay the same because this is the difference, but this station lighting area, I might use these. But my screwdriver, although it does fit, it's not the best. But we can come back to station lighting. So now we've done that, let's see how this sits on there, because I can always take it back off. But I want to see how it sits on there now. So that's all that. See what was loose. Still attached to the mains slightly. And this just sits in here like so. I may have to do some work here to get it over bits and bobs, but we should go in together like that. Yes, we do. So I can see by looking at this that this side is too low by a couple of mil. So we can try several different things first to try and even it out. We can see how far out it is by just sticking a piece of wood under like that. So that is looking better, but I need a longer piece to go across both sides of things. I've got that piece there. Right, that's been brought up slightly anyway. Let me just grab a coach. Not that one, because that one doesn't free roll. This one. Right, well that stays still now, which is good. And it doesn't just keep rolling for the fun of it. I'd say it needs lifting up a little bit more. Just a tad more. I do have bits to take it up a tad more. Use some of this. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I'm thinking maybe just a tad more. will get it all in final position, obviously. I think that's it. Just to shove it together properly, like that. That's much better. So I've got some track work to repair here. It needs a bit of work. But we have this point motor in, this one in. These two were always in, they just never worked properly. That one's in, but I think it's that one that's missing its piece. It might be that one. And this one is missing completely at the moment. But the hole's there, everything's there, so that can be done. So I need to charge up the Dremel and just do a little bit of trimming there. I need to do a bit of trimming here because they don't match. They will do, but they don't because of the sleepers, I think that is. But that can be worked upon. What about... Oh, let me just get another coach and taking that one off. There's a bit of trimming that needs doing there. Oh yes, I see it. I'll show you in a minute. And then that needs... I think that is actually being hung up. Yeah, that's been hung up by that. So if I just push that out the way a minute. Yeah, that works. Yeah, so that's much better. So now we're at that point now where I've got... That sounded healthy, didn't it? Got that track work to complete, and then I've got the bits to do here. And then we need to reissue that curving. But as you can see now, I pull you across here, the height that we've gone up to is vast compared to everything else. If I put, let's say, this across here, you can see that we still have a downward slope to contend with. However, that is a downward slope. So this needs coming up a little bit. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm probably going to have to ask Sean or Stefan, one of them, to come with me for a little bit up here and lift this front beam up, because that's what it'll be. These two beams here, so this will need lifting up, and then these two will need lifting up, and once these have lifted up, this will be the same height as that, and then the layout will be flat throughout, which will be much better than what we've got. So let me just have a time check. 6 o'clock. I think 6 o'clock. I think what I'm going to do is I need to charge the Dremel up, and the Dremel is easier to drill through the baseboards if I need to, because I need to add some extra sections in. I also need to isolate some sections to make my signalling work properly for my train detection. Because yes, I know it doesn't need it, but I want it, and that's how it's going to be. So I think I'm going to go charge the Dremel up, and then come back up probably tomorrow and we will start on removing and sorting out which side rails are going to be which colours. As you see, we've got lots of joins here. We've got joins in there. These joins are going to be difficult. It's depending where. That's that blue wire that's underneath, you see. But that's isolated off, so I think that electrofrog's done by that point. But we can always make it done by that point. That's not a problem, because that still needs doing. But then that needs isolating off a bit further, just a bit closer here. So we can work on that. Obviously that track needs working on. That needs working on. Then we can go from there. So let's carry on.